teaches this Spashta Brahmalinga ka vakya. Brahmaniti anena, so Brahmani is a word from Ratna Brahma. Brahmaniti anena Sūtra Shastrayoho Ekasattva Rupa Sangadhi Pradashita. The Shastra is devoted to a deliberation on Brahma. And Sutra also performs a deliberation on Brahma by way of Samanvaya. And therefore, both of them deliberate upon Brahman. And therefore, Shastra and the Sutra also have the Sangati. Brahma the Ekarthatva Rupa. Sangati in each case is what? Ekarthatva Rupa Sangati. That the Sutra does the same thing that a Pada does. Sutra does the same thing that the Shruti does. Sutra does the same thing that the Shastra does. So Ekarthatva Rupa Sangatihi is there, is to be understood there. Sutram Pakshatvena Brahma Bodhakam Shastram tu Shastrarthatvena Brahma Pratipādakam iti Vivekaha. Sutram Pakshatvena Brahma Bodhakam. For Sutra, Brahma becomes Paksha. Shastra, Tattu Samanvayat. Shastrasya Brahmani Samanvayat. So Brahma is Paksha, whether Brahma is the subject matter of Shastra or not. So Brahma here becomes Paksha, meaning that about which the Sadhya is not established. So Paksha is what? Parvato Vandiman. This Parvataha means the hillock. Hillock is fiery, you want to say. Dhumatvat, because there is smoke. Why do you say? Yatra yatra dhumaha, tatra tatra vandihi. Wherever smoke is, fire must be there. The hillock is fire, smoke, therefore there must be fire. That hillock, where you want to establish that there is fire, and whether there is samshaya or doubt whether it is fire or not, so where the sadhya samshaya is there, that is called paksha. And also in case of Brahman, whether it is a purport of the Upanishad or not, this is a question. And we want to establish that in Brahman alone, the Upanishads have their purport, so that where Brahma becomes that which is the paksha. For this particular sutra, so Sutram Pakshatvena Brahma Bodhakam, Shastram tu Shastrarthatvena Brahma Pratipādakam. Whereas Shastra has its purport in Brahman, and therefore both Shastra also is devoted to Brahma, and Sutra also is devoted to Brahma by presenting Brahman as the object of deliberation. Shastra reveals Brahma, and the Sutra deliberates upon Brahma to arrive at the place of Brahman. Samanvaya Ukta Ityanena Sutra Adhyayoho Samanvaya Rupa Ekartha Pratipādakatvam Sangati Yuktam. That both the Sutra and the Adhyaya, this is called Samanvaya Adhyaya. So Sutra and the Adhyaya, both of them have Samanvaya Rupa Ekartha Pratipādakatvam. Ekartha Pratipādakatvam is there. But what's the nature of the Ekarthatvam? Samanvaya Rupa Ekarthatvam. So in one case, Brahma Pratipādakatva Rupam Ekarthatvam, Samanvaya Rupam Ekarthatvam. So the Purnanandiya also reveals or clarifies what is the Sangati in each case. Vedanteshu iti. Then Ratnavara continues. Purvapakshe Vedanteshu Mumukshu Pravritti Asiddhi Siddhante Tassiddhi. Who is the Purvapakshi here? The Purva Mimamsaka is the Purvapakshi. And where does he want the pravritti? In Karma Kanda. He doesn't want people to be devoted to Upanishads. He wants people to be devoted to Karma Kanda. So if he can prove that Upanishads do not have pramanyam by themselves, that they have pramanyam only by way of serving the purpose of Karma Kanda, then people will have primarily pravritti in Karma Kanda, and therefore they will actually discourage people from engaging into the study of the Upanishad or taking the Upanishad seriously. So Purvapakshe Vedanteshu Mumukshu Pravritti Asiddhi. If you are a Mumukshu, desirous of moksha, then understand moksha is Swarga. And therefore you must do something. So don't go by the words of these fellows. They will misguide you. That's what they say. Don't listen to this. Don't listen to these fellows, these Vedantins. They will misguide you and ultimately they will send you to hell by saying that Atma is Brahman. And therefore, that Brahman ultimately is Nirvishesham. So you'll forget Rama, Krishna and all of this and forget them. At the time of death, you won't remember anything because all Visheshas are given up and Nirvishesha nobody can think of, and that's how you will die and you will ultimately go to hell. And therefore, don't listen to these fellows. That's how the Purva Mimamsakas also say. These fellows will take you for a ride by Brahma, Brahma, and therefore don't listen to them. Better do something, perform the action. So, by proving that Upanishads do not have their Swartha Pramanyam, they want to discourage the mumukshus from taking the Upanishads seriously. Siddhante do, but Siddhanti, the Vedantin is devoted to knowledge. He is convinced. His conviction is that problem in life is only ignorance, that there is no problem. After all, what you call problem is an interpretation alone. What we have are situations, and since we want situations in a given way, therefore we don't like them. You consider a given thing as a problem. My son failed in the examination, it's a problem. Why should it be a problem? What's wrong with failing? Suppose you don't accept that failing is wrong. Say the society has, has already determined some criteria. This alone is good and this alone is bad. This alone is right, this alone is wrong. Therefore you think that this particular thing is wrong and that is right. This is good and this is bad. Okay. As far as Vyavahara is concerned, we require that. That everybody should drive on left. It is required. There is nothing sacred about left. You could drive on right also. There is nothing sacred. But then you have to choose something so that there is a vyavastha or order. As it is, there is no order, regardless of what rules are there. But if there are no rules, then there will be what? There is no order on the roads there in this country anyway. With the buffaloes doing whatever they want to do, and the cows and everybody else, and the rickshawalas are worse than buffaloes. Buffaloes you can at least guess what a buffalo will do. Yesterday as we were riding in the car, a buffalo just came on the way. You keep on honking, blowing your horn. Buffalo continues to do what it wants to do. Because buffalo is nervous, doesn't know what is coming. He thinks a bigger buffalo is coming. I don't know what buffaloes think of us and what they think of our cars. But then buffalo continues to do, then you know that this is how buffalo will behave. But how will a rickshawala will behave? Nobody knows. He is going at a speed of 50 kilometers, all of a sudden he stops and makes a turn, does something. Or how a truck fellow will go, or how a tempo will go, nobody can ever estimate. And therefore, accidents and breaking of hands and legs is so common, because Swami, we were going at 70 kilometers an hour, all of a sudden the tempo in front of us decided to take a turn, or decided to take gasoline, in the petrol pump, and then we stopped. Without giving signal or without any notice, he just stopped it in order to make a turn at the gas station. This fellow is rushing at the speed of 80 kilometers. It bangs right in there, Nothing happens to that truck or something. These fellows in the front, all of them get hurt, their hands and legs and whatever happens to them. Thank God people don't die but they do die also. What I'm saying is that this kind of disorder we have, in spite of rules. And if you didn't have any rules, God knows what would happen to this place. You don't require wars here. You don't require even roads are enough to take care of the population control and stuff like that. You don't need any other programs here. All kind of epidemics are there, all kind of viruses are there. They're enough to control the population here. That's what seems to be happening. Yes, planning people must be knowing that kuch karne ki zarurat nahi hai. Anyway, this is the state of affairs. But then, still you require some. That's why we say that drive on the left. Arbitrarily you decide that. What is so sacred about left? Nothing. But then, arbitrarily you decided that you go on left. So that becomes right. Left becomes right and right becomes wrong, you see. And that's how, therefore if somebody goes on right, then you put him in, you take him to task. Because he is driving on right. Now, after all, because all of you people decided that everybody should drive, some majority decided, therefore this fellow becomes wrong. Somebody was asking the question, what is called violence and what is not violence, If one person does it, it is called violence. If somebody kills another fellow, it is violence. If 5 fellows kill, that also is called violence. But suppose 1,000 persons kill, it's not violence. When mob does something, it is not violence. It is called you will give it Desha Bhakti. Some such name will be given, The whole army goes and attacks somebody, it is called Dharma Yuddha and stuff like that. And that's how, in the name of that, so then it becomes Dharma. What is called Himsa or violence in one case, that very same becomes Dharma in another case, Just because you train 1 million people, to do what you want them to do. And so you say shoot, so 1 million people start shooting, so it becomes Dharma. All of these are merely creations of human mind. What is dharma? What is ultimately you come to the thing of it, you'll find a lot of things that we take so sacredly have, are all like this, are hollow in that. But then we have to take certain things as sacred in order for having some vyavastha or order in life. So Vedantis know this is all creation of mind. All of this is mithya, meaning merely kalpana. We gave you some illustration of kalpana, of what is himsa and what is not himsa. You look at the world, it will ultimately turn out to be a total kalpana. I do kalpana of my own world, you do of your own world, you add up all this, you have the whole universe in front of you, and therefore sab mithya hai. There is no point in just dwelling and dealing with that because it is endless. You keep on arranging and rearranging and trying to, oh, this is fine, this is beautiful. And then you find, oh, this is to theek nahi hai, dusra kuch karo. And then you rearrange something, again it turns out the same stuff. Therefore, this is not going to, it's all right to do something, to serve people, and that's all nice. But ultimately you will have to know the reality of the things. And therefore, may you pay attention on knowing the reality of the things. Karma kya karte ho bhai? Suppose by doing, so what? You're going to change one thing into other thing, so what? By changing one miserable thing to another miserable thing, that's all you can do. Unreal thing can only be transformed to another unreal thing. What else? And therefore, you're all right. If you have nothing else to do, keep doing that. But before that you learn, you know what it is, and then you decide whether you want to do something or not. This is how jnanam becomes the purport, the main thing in life. Therefore, the Vedantin say that it is ajnanam which is the problem and nothing else. That you are driving left, right, sideways, these are not problems. Something here is a problem, Ultimately all problems are here. Here means in the mind. When the fellow commits an accident, he behaves in a funny manner. Why? Why people behave in a crazy manner everywhere, on the roads and everywhere? Well, there's some craze here. Whatever people do there is only a manifestation of what is there in their mind. After this fellow is going at 60 miles an hour, all of a sudden he wants to take a turn. Something happened in there, isn't it? Some kind of a craze happened. Some funny thing happened. Therefore he decided to change his course. And he was too occupied even to inform other people, or to even understand that his action will have some kind of a repercussion on someone else. Just goes on. That shows some problem inside. The problems are not out there. All problems are in here. Problem of only craziness, which arises from ignorance. The ignorance is a problem, and knowledge is a solution. And not doing this and doing that. Keep on installing factories and do all kinds of things you do. As long as people are, internally, as long inside, all these problems are there, no outside solutions are going to help, Keep on increasing your gross national product and stuff like that, so what? All GNP, you can draw charts and show we have made progress. Where have you made progress? Now we are wearing different kinds of clothes and different kinds of shoes, but inside the thing remains worse than what it is. And so if you really want to, you must know where, to look for a solution. What is the nidanam? What is the diagnosis of problem? And so Vedantis diagnose the problem as ajnanam. And who can give you knowledge? Upanishad is a pramanam for knowledge. Siddhante mumukshu pravritti siddhi. So Siddhanta Vedantin wants to make sure that the mumukshu are directed, not taken for a ride by those fellows, They ultimately take you for a ride. Ravade chada hua hai, this one. Karma, do this and do this. Amum yaja, do this and do that. In the hope of getting something, you keep on doing things. And then ultimately you recognize that, all right. Teza iha karma chido lokah kshiyate evam evamutra punya chido lokah kshiyate. Whatever you attain, there is a karma here, ultimately soon seem to be perishable. By punya you attain something else there, also be perishable. In perishability, there is no distinction. It's the same. Except one may be an iron chain, other is a golden chain. You may have satisfaction. I have transformed iron into gold. What? Iron chain into gold chain. That's all karma can do. It cannot release you from the chain. See? And that's why for releasing, you require knowledge, because chain is of the nature of ignorance. Siddhante tat siddhi. Meaning what? Mumukshu pravritti siddhi. Siddhanti wants to show that Upanishad are the pramanam for Brahma, and knowledge of Brahman alone is the means for moksha in life, and therefore that the moksha should be direct. There are very often Shankaracharya says that the mumukshus only should do this. Let them not be misguided. That's why so much time is spent here in discussing with them, not in dismissing them, in educating them. So all the Mimamsakas also are mumukshus. We don't fight with them. They are also mumukshus. They are also serious people, misguided people. And therefore, we have to only guide them or direct them. That's what the discussion is. Don't think that Shankaracharya is vanquishing people. Why should you vanquish anybody? What do you get out of that? Suppose somebody is vanquished, so what? Neither he is benefited nor are you benefited. Suppose you defeat somebody, you prove somebody wrong, so what? But if you educate him, make him see things, give him direction, then it is worthwhile. So all this discussion is not to condemn somebody, not to vanquish somebody, but then to guide and to direct somebody. So Siddhante Tatsiddhiti Viveka. This kind of Viveka is there, that if Purva Pakshi is right, then there will be no pravritti of mumukshus in the Upanishad. If Siddhanti is right, then the mumukshus will have pravritti in the Upanishad. This is the main difference there. Vedanteshu moksho na pravritti kintu purva mimamsayam pravritti iti bhavaha purva paksha. There mimamsa in karma kanda pravritti should be there. This is what purva pakshi wants. Okay. Bhashye Shastra Pramakatam Uchchade iti Katham Uchchade. That Katham should be connected to Uchcha. Katham Uchchade, you know. Iti Anvaya hai. Nanu ayam akshebha kim nibandhana iti jignasayam Jaimini Sutra Pramanyagyaha Yavada iti. Why did question arise in your mind? Why do you even question what is established in the third sutra? Kim nibandhana hai. Nibandhana means kim hetu. What's the hetu for this akshepa? So, ko-hetu iti jignasayam Jaimini Sutra Pramanya, because Jaimini says in his sutra that Vedantas are devoted to karma, and therefore any shastra that is devoted to anything other than karma cannot be valid shastra. Yavata iti atadarthanam vidyantam sangrahavakyam arthavadanam pramanyam nastiti purvapaksha pratipādakam amnayasya kriyarthatvat anarthakyam atadarthanam. This is not a complete sentence. Tasmad anityam uchyate. This is a whole sutra, Jaimini Sutra 1-1. In the first chapter, second quarter, the first sutra is Anarthakyam atadarthanam tasmad anityam uchyate. So here, in this particular statement, Amnayasya kriyarthatvat anarthakyam atadarthanam ityantam sangrahavakyam Arthavadanam Pramanyam Nastiti Purvapaksha Pratipādakam. This is a Purvapaksha Sutra which wants to say that the Arthavadas do not have Pramanyam because they do not have the purport in karma. So anything that does not directly deal with karma have no Pramanyam. This is what Purvapakshi of the Purva Mimamsa says. Kriyaparatvam ityadi vakyam Siddhanta Pratipādakam iti vibhaga hai. Iti Kriyaparatvam Shastrasya Pradarshidam. Shastrasya Kriyaparatvam Pradarshitam. The Shastra is Kriyaparam, that's what Jaimini also desires. Shastra is devoted to karma, but then whether or not those statements which do not directly deal with karma, should they be called Pramana or not? Purva Pakshi says they are not Pramanam, and Jaimini, meaning Siddhanti, says that they are Pramanam. So this is how the statement of Jaimini is quoted here as a Purva Paksha for this particular sutra. Okay, I think we'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Veda Vibhagine व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ अथ कथं पुनः ब्रह्मणः शास्त्र प्रमाणकत्वम् उच्यते यावता आम्नायस्य क्रियार्थत्वात् अनर्थक्यम् अतदर्थानाम् इति क्रियापरत्वम् शास्त्रस्य प्रदर्शितम्। अतः वेदान्तानाम् अनर्थक्यम् अक्रियार्थत्वात् Vedantanam anarthakyam akriyarthatva. This is Purvapaksha. If you insist, Purvapaksha is like this. If you say that Vedantas are devoted to revealing Brahma, which is Siddhavastu, Brahma is that which already is, not to be created, not to be achieved, not to be acquired, nothing can be done about it because it is Siddhavastu. And if you say that Vedantas are devoted to revealing Brahma, which is Siddhavastu, then we would say that Anarthakyam, then Vedantanam Anarthakyam, we would say that Vedantas are useless, Nishphala. Why is it so? Atadarthanam. So because Vedanta or Upanishads are not related directly or indirectly to Kriya or Karma, and therefore they have no usefulness in life. What is useful in life? Karma. Why is it so? Because it enables you to achieve what you don't have. The happiness that you do not have, karma enables you to achieve that. Swarga, where you are not at the moment, karma enables you to reach that. And therefore, karma is that which only means for the purushartha, for attainment of the desired human goal. And therefore, if Vedantas don't deal with karma, they only deal with Brahma, which is there. It may be wonderful, whatever it is, but then it doesn't do anything to us because you don't get any prerana or any kind of an inspiration for karma. Then it is anarthakyam. This is what somebody would say. Not that the Purvamimamsakas say that Vedantas are useless, because they say that Vedantas, meaning Upanishads, are devoted to karma, and that way they have usefulness. And indirect, some kind of usefulness they have, because they are Arthavada. And therefore, first thing we want to here that is being shown is that Vedantas are Arthavada. Vedantas are Kriyapara. This is what that is first thing to be shown here. So even Bhashyakar also wants to show how the Purvamimamsakas have established. They have already analyzed Upanishads according to them, and they have already concluded that Upanishads are devoted to karma, indirectly, by being Arthavada. Whether Arthavada should be considered as Pramanam or not. Arthavadas are those statements which are dealing with extolling something, praising something, or condemning something. And therefore they do not seem to be directly related to karma. But then, should they be discarded as useless? Then Jaimin says, no, Arthavada should not be discarded as useless, because even though they do not have direct association or direct dealing with karma, or they do not directly reveal karma, they indirectly reveal karma in as much as they are associated with vidhi or nishedavakya indirectly by praising that which is to be done or by condemning that which should not be done. So by praising that which should be done also, they serve the purpose of creating an interest in us for doing something. So you may not ask a person to do something directly, but you may praise. You know, United States is like that. And you go there and this is what you can get. You know, the university is there and the facilities there. And like that you extol that thing. You don't ask that fellow to do anything. But when you do this, then it's, oh, I would like to go there. So, person gets inspired to go there. And therefore, this praise of United States has ultimately indirectly created in him a desire to do something. So even though the person was not directly instructed to do anything, through these statements, inasmuch as they serve the purpose of creating an interest and thus creating a desire, they have helped in karma. And therefore, arthavadas are that way, they are also useful. This is what the idea is. Or even if you condemn something, condemn, even United States, you want to condemn that. What a place it is. It's a miserable place. Depends on who you are talking to. So, because everything is there everywhere, There are fellows who are 45, 50 years old and all well said, so we want to go to, what are they talking about? Go to the United States? You know what happens to people there? At this age when you go, you know what you will have to do there? Can you wash dishes and scrub floors? You are a doctor here. You think that somebody is going to accept you as a doctor there? No way. Or you may be an executive here, you will have to start as a clerk. And what about your children? And thus you say that. And a tremendous, terrible picture is created about that place. So I don't want to go. And thus also there is in him, we have prompted him to do something. Because he wanted to go, and therefore not to go also becomes an action for that person. So pratisheda, nisheda also is an action. Because there is a curbing of a certain tendency there. So that is also an action, like applying a brake, you see. So when your car is standing there on a slope, at that time, in order to prevent it from rolling down, you have to do something. Even though apparently no action appears to be there, still action is there in terms of applying a brake. So applying brake also is an action, because there is a natural tendency of the car to roll away. So also there is a natural tendency for a person to do things, and applying brake also becomes an action. So nisheda or pratisheda also are actions, understand? So vidhi and nisheda. Thus arthavada, by way of extolling, meaning stuti of what is to be done, or by condemning what should not be done, they serve the purpose of kriya, and therefore they also have kriya paratvam, but indirectly. This is what first Jaimini shows. The Purvamimamsaka show that even arthavada also should be considered as pramanam. And then they will show that Vedantas fall in the category of arthavada. And if you insist that Vedantas only are devoted to Brahma, which is Siddhavastu, then they will have to be declared as useless. And then Vedanta will not be pramanam. And then your statement Shastra Unitvat, that Shastra is a yoni or the pramanam for Brahman, that will not be valid. So if the third sutra has to be valid, that Shastra is a yoni or pramanam, then it is pramanam for karma and not pramanam for Brahma. Because if you say it is pramanam for Brahma, then it is no more pramanam. This is the thrust of the Purva Paksha here. Earlier we find a certain discussion on the Purva Paksha of the Mimamsaka, where there are people, as we said, first there is a need to establish that Arthavada also are pramanam. Therefore there is an argument against a person who wants to discard Arthavada as not pramanam. So first the Mimamsaka establishes how Arthavada or the statements extolling or condemning are also valid or useful statements, and then they will show how Vedantas are also Arthavada. That's how the Purva Paksha is built up. So now page 123, Ratnavrakara explains, Bhashyakara said, Katham punaha brahmanaha shastra pramanakatvam uchyate. How again do you say that Shastra is Pramana for Brahman, or Brahman is there which is Shastra as its Pramana? How do you say that? Katham iti akshepe. The word Katham can mean several things. Katham means how. How, when you say it, then also it means akshepa. How can you say that? So it depends on the tone in which you ask this question. How can you say that? Means you are actually questioning what is said. How to do that? When you ask, then you are asking for iti kartavya, how to do a given thing. So katham can mean several things. So Bhashyakara is not saying how should we say that, or the Purva Paksha is not saying how should we say that the Shastra is Pramana. How can you say that Shastra is Pramana? So katham here is akshepe. To question what you say. How can you say that Shastra unitvat, the Shastra is Pramana from Brahman? How can you say that? So katham iti akshepe. Tatra hetuhu. That means he is questioning the conclusion drawn in the earlier sutra that Shastra is Pramanam for Brahman. How can you say that? And in support of that question or Akshepa, he gives a reason. Purvapakshi gives a reason. Yavata iti. Yavata means yataha. That's what Yavata means. So Bhashyakara is very fond of Yavata, which means different things in different places. Sometimes yena, sometimes yataha. So Yavata means yataha. Jaimini, so Ratnaprabha says yataha. Jaimini sutrena shastrasya meaning vedasya kriyaparatvam darshitam. Yata since Jaimini sutrena. By that sutra which is quoted here, so Shastrasya Vedas. Why that sutra? Shastra means Veda. Shastrasya Kriyaparatvam Darshitam. So the sutra shows that Shastra is devoted to Kriya. Kriyaparatvam means being devoted. Paratvam means devoted to. Mat Paraha, being devoted to me. Manmana Bhava, Mat Karma Krut, Mat Paramaha. So you will be devoted to me. That means, so Karma Paratvam means Shastra is devoted to Karma. Kriya Paratvam Darshitam. Since that sutra shows that Shastra is devoted to karma, Ataha Akriyasatvat Vedantanam Anarsakyam. And therefore, if you say that Vedanta is devoted to Brahma, then Akriyasatvam is there. Not according to Mimamsakas, but the Vedantin is questioned here. Katham Punaha. How can you say? If you say that Vedanta is devoted to Brahma, then Akriyasatva, meaning since Brahma is nothing, Brahma is an existing entity and Brahma is in no way involved in Kriya. What can you do with Brahman? Or Atma also, it doesn't have Kriya Sheshatva, meaning it cannot be directly or indirectly associated with Karma. Atma is a Karta, so cannot become Karta. You cannot do anything with Atma, cannot become Karma, cannot become instrument, cannot become any Karaka. And therefore, in no way can Atma or Brahma be associated with Karma. And therefore, if Vedantas are devoted to Brahma, then they are Akriyaparaha, in which case Akriyasatvad Vedantanam Anarsakyam. Anarsakyam is what? Phalavat Artha Shunyatvam. So, Phalavanyo Artha, Phalavat Artha. That Artha is explained as Sadhanam, Ishta Sadhanam. So, that will come, that discussion will come. So, Artha is that which is a means for attainment of that which is desirable. So, happiness is what one desires. And therefore, one always would want to do something by which one becomes happy. You may wind up being unhappy is a different thing. You may wind up doing something which makes you unhappy. That is in the hindsight, you will learn. But while you are doing it, definitely you are doing something because that thing, according to you, is Ishta Sadhanam, a means for Ishta, desirable. And what is desirable is happiness. And that is how they will discuss Dharma is the means for attainment of a desired end by which a person expects to be happy. And so Phalavat Arthatvam, Phalavat Arthashunyatvam, that means then is not that which is Phalavat, doesn't possess any phala or doesn't possess any usefulness. And therefore, Phalavat Artha Paratva means being useful, Phalavat Artha Shunyatva means being useless. So, Anarsakya means uselessness. That is what the Vedantas will be useless if you say that they are devoted to Brahma. Iti Anvaya. This is the Anvaya. Kathami Thamu Pratyandha Kim Shabda Akshepartha iti Bhavaha. Kim Shabda is there, you add the Tham Pratyaya, then becomes Katham. In this case, in the sense of Akshepa. Among various meanings, one meaning is Akshepa. Yavada iti Padasyarthamaha Yataha iti. Anasakya Padasyarthamaha Phalavat Artha Shunyatvam iti. Then, now page 124, Ratnaprabha explains the sutra. Amnayasya Kriyarthatvat Anasakyam Atadarthanam Tasmad Anityam Uchyade. This is a Purvapaksha Sutra in the Purvamimamsa. The Purvamimamsaka says that all the Arthavadas, all of them should be all those statements should be considered as useless because they are not devoted to karma, and therefore, what is called Arthavada, meaning praising some Devata and making some other statements which have no relation with karma, should be considered as redundant. This is what the Purvapakshi of the Mimamsa says, And Mimamsaka wants to show that no, all those statements are also meaningful because they indirectly serve the purpose of karma. So Ratnavara says, Sutrasya ayamartha. That's two sutras. Which sutras? Amnayasya kriyasattvadi sutrasya. Of Jaimini Sutra. They are not Tattva Samanvayat Sutra. But Jaimini Sutra, Amnayasya kriyasatva. Of that sutra, ayamartha. This is the meaning. Prasama Sutre Tavat. Prasama Sutra means what? So Amnayasya ityadi sutrasya artha kathanartham tat sangatya tat purva sutra parishkritartham kramena sphutayati. Now, in order to explain Amnayasya ityadi sutrasya artha kathanartham, in order to explain the meaning of the sutra Amnayasya kriyarthatvat tat sangatya, that is also a topic in Purva Mimamsa. Therefore, Ratna Prabhakara here analyzes that sutra Amnayasya kriyarthatvat. In order to analyze that sutra, you must give all the various aspects, Sangati. For the Vyakhyana, which has these 5 elements, must be given, or Adhikarana, which has 5 elements which must be stated. So Vishaya, Samshaya, Purupaksha, Samadhanam, and Siddhanta. These 5 elements must be stated in order to explain a sutra. So Tat Sangatya, Tat Pura Sutra Parishkritartham Kramena Sphutayati. In order to explain the Sangati, what is the place of this sutra in the whole Shastra? So otherwise you won't be able to understand. The reason why we all the time seek the Sangati or connection of any sutra with reference to Brahma Shastra, Shruti, Adhyaya, Pada, etc. is that unless you study or analyze a given statement in the total context, that analysis or the meaning that you derive may not be proper. You may take a given statement out of context and arrive at a certain meaning which may be grammatically alright or perhaps in some other ways can be justified but may not be proper because it is not within a given context. So whenever someone makes a statement or any intelligent person makes a statement, the statement always is made in a certain context. Not only the immediate context, but the total context also. So whenever you are saying something or unfolding something, there is a total context of the whole life. And then there is a context of the Upanishad as to how Upanishad is related to the life. And then of the context of Brahma Sutra as to how Brahma Sutra is related to Upanishad and therefore to life and therefore to me. And therefore this chapter, and thus the total context is there all the time. It is not that you forget that. So actually, the Sutrakara will always have the self, because everybody is interested only in the self ultimately. Anything that is dear to me, Atmanastu Kamaya, Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. So whatever I do because I am interested in myself. Whether I study history, or geography, or chemistry, or anything, or Brahma Sutra. Because I am interested in myself. And that is where you must find connection of everything. Why should we study Upanishad? Because they reveal the true nature of the self. Why should we study Brahma Sutra? Because they analyze the Upanishad. And why should we study this particular sutra? Because there is this relation with the Shastra. So the total context must be there in the mind when you write the sutra or when you analyze the sutra. So it is not that they go through exercise every time, but then this is always, that is how the mind works. Even the mind of the speaker does not work that way. Mind of the listener will work that way. So why are you saying this? What's the use of I saw 15-minute pravachan there? What for? You wonder, What was the reason why all this was said? Sometimes people get distracted and they get, so that's what happens. You may have some other thing in your mind which you may want to say, and then you don't find occasion, then you take this occasion to say things, which are irrelevant. That's what happens. All of a sudden you start banging somebody, start condemning something, start praising something which have no relevance to what you are saying. Then you wonder, wait a minute, why? So then, if you have Shraddha in the speaker, then you will want to analyze why is it said. Otherwise, you will say, well, I guess it is a habit or something like that. But how our mind also gets confused when we don't find the context. Now understand the Sangati of the context is extremely important. Purva Apara Sambandha. Relation with the earlier one, connection with what follows, connection with the total context. Just as when an artist draws a picture, then anything that he draws has to do with the total thing. He starts with a total outline and every detail that is filled in must supplement or must add something to the total picture. Otherwise, it will distract your attention. If you draw some separate picture somewhere, then people may not look at it. That's why you take photographs and things like that. You must always make sure that the viewer's attention is on the main theme. Therefore, you avoid in your picture anything that can distract attention of the viewer. And listeners also attention must be always maintained on the main theme. So if you get distracted for some reasons, then their attention is digressed, and that's not proper. That's the reason why we find here that every time, whenever you analyze a sutra, there is a need to analyze also or state what Sangati or what place this particular sutra has in the whole Shastra, in that particular context. All of that must be given because our mind demands that. So before Ratna Prabhakara can proceed to analyze even that sutra of Purva Mimamsa, he must give the total context of that sutra. What is the need for the Sutrakara to say that? We would ask this question, what was the need? Because somebody else said something else earlier. So this is an answer to somebody? Or there is a question to somebody? Is a Purva Paksha Sutra or a Siddhanta Sutra? Everybody thinks it is Siddhanta Sutra. Part of this is Siddhanta and part of it is Purva Paksha. And therefore we should know what was the need for that sutra. Therefore, Amnasya ityadi sutrasya arthakathanartham tat sangatya tat purva sutra parishkrutartham. Parishkrutartha. The parishkruta means the essential meaning of the earlier sutra also kramena sphutayati. So what preceded this particular sutra in the Purva Mimamsa also is to be briefly stated in order to build up a proper context in our own mind. So this Prasama Sutra. Prasama Sutra means Purva Mimamsa, Prasama Sutra in the Purva Mimamsa Shastra. Very Prasama Sutra, very first sutra of Purva Mimamsa. Because when the Sutrakara made a statement in the very first sutra, a certain context was built up with reference to which the Purva Paksha arose. Because when we say something, then questions arise. We ourselves create questions in the mind of the listeners. And then we have to answer those questions because some of the statements that we make create questions in them. Similarly, the Sutrakara Jaimini made a statement, Athato Dharma Jignasa, and therefore the question arose in the mind of the Purva Pakshi. Then all these things should be useless, So therefore, that context also is first given. Prasama Sutra Ityadena. Prasama Sutra Tavat. What is Prasama Sutram? Athato Dharma Jignasa. That is the Prasama Sutra of Purva Mimamsa. Uttar Mimamsa Athato Brahma Jignasa. The same style is followed. So there is Athato Dharma Jignasa. Tavat Vedasya Adhyana Karanaka Bhavana Vidibhavyasya Vedasya Phalavat Arthaparatvam Uktam. So Athato Dharma Jignasa, that Dharma, Jignasa for Dharma, that one must actually have Jignasa or Vichara, that Jignasa but again amounts to Vichara, that one should perform the Vichara or deliberation upon Dharma. What is Dharma? The meaning of the Veda Vakyas. There, Sage Jaimini wants to say, that is not enough that you recite the Vedas. That you memorize the Vedas or recite the Vedas, that is not enough. Swadhyaya adhyetavya. It is said that one must study one's own branch of Veda. What do you mean by study? By study, do you mean repeating the Vedas? Reciting the Vedas? It is said that when you study the Vedas, then you attain heaven, Saswarga. So what do you mean by study of the Vedas? Merely reciting the Vedas or what? Where should this Swadhyaya stop? Should I be satisfied that now I have learnt by Vedas by heart and I can recite them properly with all the intonations? Is that intended by the Swadhyaya Adhyetavya? This question arose. When Shruti said that you must study, question arose. What do you mean by study? Some people say that study means reciting, memorizing. Jaimini says, no, study means knowing the meaning also. So therefore, it is not enough that you merely recite the Vedas or memorize them, but that you must also know the meaning of the Vedas. So that is what is meant by Dharma. By Dharma here is meant, that will be again clarified. So what is Dharma also? Himself is Chodana Lakshana Arthaha Dharma. So that Dharma is that which is Chodana. I also will explain. Chodana means this the injunction. So, athato dharma jignasa should actually mean athato shastra jignasa, meaning shastra vichara kartavya. Shastra means dharma shastra vichara. Dharma jignasa means dharma shastra jignasa. And jignasa means vichara. Dharma shastra vichara kartavya. Now then, a vichara or deliberation upon the shastra of the Veda must be performed. It is not enough that you just recite the Vedas or memorize the Vedas, but that it is necessary that you must know the meaning also. Because what is the purpose for a person to study something? To know the meaning. Suppose you want to study a poem or want to study anything. It's not enough that you just recite that poem, but you must know the meaning also. Then alone, it remains with you. Otherwise, merely recital may go away or will not serve a great purpose. It is true that mere recital of Vedas also serve a purpose in terms of creating adrushta or punya karma, but then knowing the meaning is really the purpose of Vedas, because that is the science of life. Vedas are nothing but the manual of life, and unless you know the meaning, that manual has no meaning at all. So Vedas are not merely meant for recital, even though recital also produces a result of its own, but Vedas are not meant for recital. So when the Vedas are revealed, the intention of the revealer was not that people just recite the Vedas. The intention of the revealer of the Veda was that people should learn them and study them and understand them. Then alone it will be possible to implement them in our life. So Jaimini said, Asato Dharma Jignasa, meaning Dharma Shastra Jignasa, meaning a deliberation upon or inquiry into the Dharma Shastra must be performed, because Vedasya phalavat arthaparatvat. Dharma jignasa means what? Dharma nirnayaya jignasa. Dharma nirnayaya karavakya vichara hai, jignasa vichara hai, kartavya hai. So jignasa pada by lakshana means the vichara hai. And dharma should mean dharma jignasa means dharma vichara means dharma nirnayaya vichara hai, kartavya hai. This is what the sutra means. It's a big thing, because so there must be some school of thought where there was, that's all, recite the Vedas. So Sage Jami says, no, the recital is not enough, you must know. Then that is how Asa means Veda Dhyanantaram. Having studied the Veda, meaning having learned how to recite the Vedas, having done that, because first memorizing is necessary. That used to be the style of teaching. Suppose you want to study Vyakaranam, first they will ask you to memorize all the Panini Sutra. Right, whether you without understanding, you memorize them. And little children can memorize them easily. Now we have a lot of difficulty. When you want to study Laghus, Siddhanta Kaumudi and stuff like that, then you forget everything. As you go along, the past is forgotten. But then, children remember everything. Not only they remember the sutra, they remember the vritti means brief explanation of sutra, everything they remember. All kinds of connects, everything they remember. And when you remember, then they start teaching you. Because remembering is very necessary in every learning. So, traditionally they would insist that whatever lesson is done yesterday, you must have it by heart today. Otherwise you come fresh every day fresh, the teacher has to build a background every day. Then what happens? They don't have time. 12 years are not enough to teach you. Then you will require a whole lifetime. So to complete the course in a given curriculum in a given period of time, it is necessary that there must be cooperation of the student. And the cooperation of student is in terms of learning whatever is doing your homework, One of the homeworks is memorizing what you will learn. And so having memorized the Vedas, so Vyakarana Sutra you memorize. Then when they start teaching you, then everything is in your mind. And therefore when sutras are connected one after the other and all these things are done, all manipulations are done by the teacher, then everything becomes just falls in place for you. Otherwise, wait a minute, where is that sutra? You have 1500 books in front of you, and you refer to one and then you forget the other. Then you wonder, have I ever looked at this sutra? It looks familiar, But after a while it looks as though it is totally new, All these things. After 6 months or a year, when you will study this, everything will be new. Did we do this? Swami, when you go back to our notes, we wonder, did we write these notes? You mean you have studied all this? People wonder. They have studied everything. But they don't think they have studied anything. So everywhere they go, they are all fresh, thinking, this is wonderful. So look in your notes, you know, I mean, all these things are there. But anyway, that is how our mind is, it just forgets everything. It will remember only that is useful. Therefore, necessary to memorize. So children, that's why, start when you are young. So, asa means Vedadhyananantaram. Ataha Vedasya Phalavat Arthaparatvat. The Vedas have meaning in them. Not only there is a recital, Phalavat Arthaparatvat. So Veda is Artha, a sadhanam, which will, Veda is a sadhanam. The knowledge of the Veda is a sadhanam, which is meaningful in your life, which is useful in your life. So Vedas provide you something that is useful in your life, and therefore Vedas have usefulness. More than merely recital, their usefulness in terms of enable you to achieve the desired ends in your life. That being the case, Ataha, since the Vedas have the usefulness, meaning they provide us the means for attainment of the desired ends in our life, since Vedas have that kind of usefulness, therefore Veda Vicharaha Kartavya. So Dharma Nirnaya. For what? For the Veda Vichara? Dharma Nirnaya. Many people have done Vichara on Veda, many Western scholars. How do they do Vichara? They will count number of words and count number of things, and what is the grammar here, when the Vedas were made, and stuff like that. Because what is history in Veda and what is geography in Veda and stuff, that is okay. Not that, it doesn't have a place. But if that is all that you look upon Veda as a historical thing and stuff like that, or a social thing, from Veda you learn about the society, the social conditions of that time in India, that is not Arthaparatvam. Follow Arthaparatvam is what? Something that helps in your life, And therefore, Dharma Nirnaya Vicharaha Kartavya. For ascertainment of Dharma, for determination of Dharma, Dharma is the Ishta Sadhanam, that which enables you to achieve happiness in your life. And since you are interested in happiness, therefore Dharma Nirnaya. And Dharma is a very complex thing. It's a very subtle thing. Dharma is something that you can learn only from Vedas. That's another thing. Dharma, it cannot be learned from a means other than Vedas. Human intellect is not adequate to determine whether a given action is right or wrong. Or if you want to go to heaven, that you should perform this action, there is no way that the human mind can ever arrive at this. And therefore, for Dharma, you have to totally depend upon the Vedas, upon the scriptures. And scriptures alone are the pramanam for Dharma. Therefore, the deliberation upon the scriptural statements is necessary in order to ascertain what is said here. Because the analysis of the Vedas or any scripture requires, the understanding of any scripture requires analysis always. Every scripture requires a tremendous analysis, because the people who state the scriptures are in a different level, and the people who don't understand scriptures are at a different level. So why did he say that? So much context. You require people who are tuned up with them to explain to us. So even the Bhashyakara also, people should be such who are totally in tune with the Shastra, then alone they can explain to us in the language that we can understand. So Dharma Nirnaya, or to arrive at what is Dharma, or what is proper, or what is righteous in a given situation at given time and place, all of them requires a lot of deliberation. And therefore, since Veda Vakyas also will require deliberation to understand their Tatparya, therefore, even Veda Vakyas, the Shastra Vakya also should be subjected to this scrutiny. And then alone you can understand what is conveyed by them, and then alone you will know what you have to do. Otherwise, you study Vedas, you can't understand anything there. Or what you may derive, the meaning that you may derive may be just contrary also. And therefore, Dharma Nirnaya, Dharma is a Tattva, is that which requires Nirnaya, requires to be understood and ascertained, and that is a certain methodology. There is a certain methodology of analyzing the scriptures. Karma Vakya Vichara Kartavya hai. Not Vedanta Vakya Vichara here, Karma Vakya Vichara Kartavya hai. Which is the Vichara we should deliberate upon all those statements which deal with karma, that is Yathato Dharma Jignasa. Iti evam padanam artham abhipretya. This is the meaning of the padas, the various words of sutra, Athato Dharma Jignasa. The meaning of the sutra is this, abhipretya. Keeping this in mind, having this in mind, Phalitarthamaha. Ratnabhavakara doesn't explain, but Phalitartham. What does it actually amount to? So Phalitartham says, Prathama Sutra iti. Phalitartha is more difficult than the sutra, Tavat Vedas, that's what happens. You think that the sutra is simple, when you read the comment, then you get confused, then read further footnote, then you get further confused. So what is the meaning of that sutra? Vedasya adhyana karanaka bhavana vidibhavyasya phalavad arthaparatvam uktam. Where is this athato dharma jignasa? There is no word there, Athato dharma jignasa, what does it say? It says this. Vedasya, that word Veda is not there. Adhyana karanaka bhavana vidibhavyasya, whatever that means. Phalavad arthaparatvam uktam. This is what that sutra means, So to understand what he says will require other deliberation on our part. Fortunately, Purnananda explains here, there is a swadhyaya that he himself says everything. Adhyanam, guru ucharana, anucharanam. What is adhyanam? Adhyanam is recital. Adhyanam is not here in case of Veda, adhyanam means recital. Swadhyaya adhyetavya means one must learn to recite the Vedas, or one must recite the Vedas every day. What is recital? Guru ucharana anucharanam, reciting after the teacher. That's how Vedas are learned. The teacher recites and the disciple recites after. You cannot study the recital also by yourself. Should not. The tradition is that Veda recital or Vedoccharanam must necessarily be studied from a competent, in every case, of course, adhikari, competent teacher. So, Guru Charana, even to study from tapes and cassettes, etc., also is difficult because there is nobody to correct you. Sometimes you don't know whether your accent, pronunciation, intonations are correct. You may think that you are pronouncing correctly, which may not be the case. So, someone who understands those things is required to point out. And I'll tell you also how to have a proper enunciation. Alright, so, Guru Ucharana, Anucharanam, Tat Karanikaya Bhavana, Avritti Rupo Bhavana is Avritti Rupo Vyaparaha. Bhavana means is Avritti Rupo Vyaparaha. That repeated recital. Therefore, to study the Veda recital, it is not only enough that you recite or repeat once, but that you must repeat them again and again. So, Bhavana must be done. Bhavana means that repetition, same thing must be repeated again and again. That's called Bhavana. So, Avritti Rupo Vyapara Vishesha, a particular kind of activity of reciting the Vedas again and again after the recital of the teacher. That is called Adhyanam. So, Adhyana Karanaka Bhavana Vidibhavyasya. What is Vidhi? Tat Pratipadakaha Yah Vidhi. Swadhyaya Adhyetavya. This is a Vidhi, an injunction. So what does the injunction says? That one must study the Swadhyaya. What is Swadhyaya? One's own branch of Veda. Swadhyaya. Adhyetavya, it must be studied. What is meant by studied or learned? What is learned? That you must repeat after the teacher again and again until you have learned exactly, you recite exactly, it should be recited. This is what that Vidhi says. So, Tat Pratipadako Yah Vidhi, this Vidhi Swadhyayo Adhyetavya actually asks us to repeat the Vedas in this manner. Iti Vidhi Tad Bhavyasya Tat Karmi Bhutasya Vedasya Ityartha. So, what is the subject matter of this Vidhi? Veda. So, Tat Karmi Bhutasya. That is the nature of karma. Karma is Vishaya. So, Vidhi addresses itself, or what is the Vishaya of the Vidhi? Veda. Swadhyaya, there also word Veda is not there. Swadhyaya means Veda. One's own branch of Veda, it must be learned. So, Veda is given a big adjective here. Adhyana Karanaka Bhavana Vidbhavyasya Vedasya. Veda, which is the object of the Vidhi or injunction, which requires a person to again repeat the Veda in accordance with the recital of the teacher. Veda which is such as this. Phalavat Arthaparatvam Uktam. That Veda has Phalavat Arthaparatvam, meaning Sarsakatvam. Anarthakyam is not there, Sarsakatvam is there. Tathacha, now Purnananda explains, Tathacha Swadhyayatmaka Vedam Uddishya Vidhi Pravartate. So this Vidhi keeps in mind the Veda which is to be studied. Veda which requires to be studied, the Vedi keeps that Veda in mind. Iti Vedasya Vidhikarmatvam iti bhavaha, meaning Veda is the object of this Vidhi or the injunction, and Phalavanya, wherever Vidhi is, wherever injunction is, then injunction must necessarily be for something. For asking, then when we are asked to do something, we are asked to do that because we can attain some desirable end. Otherwise, Vedas will not ask us to do something. Whenever scriptures ask us to do something, our own well-being is the mind of the scriptures. So whenever they instruct us to do something or enjoin us to do something, the purpose is that we can attain something that we desire. And so when the scripture says that you must recite the Vedas every day, then that recital must have some meaning. The recital of the Veda must be a means for attainment of something desirable in our own life. Therefore, that Veda is a desirable thing because the recital of the Veda or study of the Veda is a means for attainment of some useful purpose in our life. Therefore, Veda is Phalavat Arthaparatvam Vedasya Uktam. Because of Vidhi, idea is wherever Vidhi is, wherever injunction then is in Veda, Phalavat Arthaparatvam, there must be usefulness there. So this is our Shraddha, understand? So this is Shraddha again, faith or belief that because Vedas are asking us to do a given thing, therefore it must be meaningful in our life, otherwise they will not ask us to do that. Therefore wherever Vidhitvam is there, Phalavat Arthaparatvam is there. That's what we expect from any Apta, any well-wisher. Whenever any well-wisher tells us to do something, we always give them that benefit of doubt that that person tells us to do something because it must be necessary or must be useful for us. It is for our own well-being that this person is telling us. That's how we do that. It is in India we have this kind of faith or Shraddha in elders. People who are learned, we have Shraddha in them. People who are elder, in them we have Shraddha. Or people who lead certain life of austerity, that also we have Shraddha. Therefore, we take the words of those people seriously. Yes, just an old man tells us something, then we don't discard it. We take it seriously. With the Shraddha that there must be some reason behind it. That the intention must be for my well-being. Not so in the West, where Shraddha is not there. Just because somebody tells you doesn't mean that you have to have necessarily do it. Why should I do it? First question is why? This is a question. So father says, why dad? Why do you want me to do that? Why shouldn't I go there? Why should I do this? Then dad goes crazy, because he sometimes cannot explain everything. He is doing what his father asked him to do. And now he is asking his son to do. Now, this fellow had enough Shraddha in his own father, therefore he did it for the whole life. But his son refuses to accept his word on the trust. He says, why? Every day do puja. Why? Swami ko pranam karo. Why? Repeat this verse. Why? What's the logic? Why should I prostrate to anybody? What's the logic that you should prostrate? Now, since you and I did not question it, therefore we did it because our parents asked us to do. And hopefully we have recognized the value. Certain things required to be done for you to discover the value. That's where Shraddha is. Shraddha is faith pending discovery. That you do this, then you will discover what the meaning is. There is no logic. Even if there is logic, either I cannot explain or you can't understand. Even if there is logic, it's not that the fellow is always in a condition to understand it. So do it. That's what he said. Come on. That's how you make them do things. Don't question. In India, they will just force you to do things. But anyway, the purpose is that in course of doing that, you will discover the value of it. Because when Apta or some well-wisher tells us something, well-wisher and a knowledgeable person tells us something, then it is for our own well-being. This is our idea. So Vedas are looked upon as Apta Vakya, meaning Ishvara Vakya. So whatever they say, they must be for the well-being of person. Because Haiteshani Shruti. Shruti is always Haiteshani, always keeps in mind the hita or welfare of the children. So you look upon her as mother. and always looks up there, always has the welfare of the children in her mind. Therefore, whenever there is an instruction, they are happy. They like that only. Because when you are told to do something, wait a minute, there is something useful here. Let us analyze that more. Other things are not analyzed as seriously as an instruction. Because here there must be a reason. Why are they telling us to do this? There must be some reason. What can we get out of it? Why is this being told? Therefore, wherever Vidivakya comes, the Mimamsakas always pay a lot of attention because that is the primary Vakya. In the realm of things where we do not know, or in the realm of things where our experience is not, or in the realm of things where our own reason is not adequate, there, following what we are told is very important. And what we are told we will follow, provided we have faith and respect and reverence. Not only respect, we have reverence for the one who says that. So there is a great reverence for the Vedas. Therefore, wherever there is a Vidivakya, wherever there is an instruction to do something, it is looked upon with great reverence because it must be the means for our well-being. So Vidhi means Dharma. Dharma means Vidhi, instruction. And instruction is necessarily a means for our well-being, for attainment of some desirable end. So therefore, tathacha swadhyayatma vedamuddishya vidhi pravada vedasya vidhi karmatma vidhi bhavaha. So vidhi karmatma means Veda is the vidhi karma. Karma means vishaya of the vidhi. So Veda means vidhi really, that's all. Because what else Veda does? If Veda is supposed to be the useful thing in our life, then how can Veda become useful in our life? By telling us what to do. Because when we don't know what to do in a given situation, they tell us what to do in this manner. Veda means vidhi alone. So Chodana Lakshana is what? Instruction or injunction. So Veda is nothing but injunction is the real Swarupa of Veda, according to the Purva Mimamsakas. So Vedasya vidhi karmatvam vidhi bhavaha phalavat arthaparatvam phalavanyu veha arthaha. That artha means what? Dharmadhikarya rupaha tat paratvam ityarthaha. That dharma again is a means for our welfare. So that artha here means what? Ishta sadhanam. Artha means ishta sadhanam. Dharma also means ishta sadhanam. So phalavan yah arthaha. That artha of the nature of dharma, which is ishta sadhanam, which is phalavan, meaning which is fruitful or which brings about a desirable end. So that is how Vedas are by the very instruction. Swadhyaya adhyetavyaha. When we are told that you must study the Vedas, automatically usefulness of the Vedas is established there. Why should they ask us to study Vedas? Only when the study of the Vedas have something useful to accomplish. And therefore Vedas become the object of that, because become the means for accomplishment of something useful in our life. So Vedas have phalavat arthaparatvam. Vedas have usefulness in our life that is established by the very swadhyaya adhyetavyaha. So Vedasya phalavat arthaparatvam uktam. Prathama sutra. Chodana lakshana arthaha dharmaha. Says arthaha chodana lakshana. Prathama sutra is athato dharma jignasa. There dharma jignasa means dharma nirnayaya karma vakya vicharaha. And that itself shows that Veda is useful. Otherwise, the instructions, injunctions would not have been there. Then Ratnavrakara continues. Chodana lakshano artho dharmaha iti dvitiya sutre. There in the same Purva Mimamsa. So, what is that dharma? So, ko nama dharmaha. So when you say that athato dharma jignasa, that now one must deliberate upon dharma. What is dharma? Ko nama dharmaha. Then we say chodana lakshana arthaha dharmaha. Just say kim tad brahma, athato brahma jignasa, kim tad brahma janmadhyasya ataha. And similarly also, when you say athato dharma jignasa, next question is, what is that dharma? Then you must give the lakshana or definition of dharma. Chodana lakshana arthaha dharmaha. Iti dvitiya sutre. Says Ratnavara, Dharme, Karye, Chodana, Pramanamidi, Veda Pramanya Vyapakam, Karya Paratvam Avasitam. Dharma means Karya. So Dharma means that which is to be accomplished or that which is to be performed. There must be Anushtanam. Dharma is not enough that you know Dharma, but actually you must do something about it. Thus there are two things in our life. When you know certain things, you must you must implement them. There are certain things which are just to be known. So people always insist that Swamiji, knowing is not enough. We must do something about it. But you don't always have to do something about every knowledge. Two kinds of knowledge are there. One is the kind of knowledge where having known you must do something. And there is another kind of knowledge where having known nothing is to be done. So understand that when you are listening in the class, which are the things which require us to do something, and which are the things which only require us to know. That also distinction must be clear. When you talk of amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, arjam, it's not only enough to know what is amanitvam, but then you must actually implement it. That is, but then kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Hey Bharata, I am the kshetrajna, all the self in all the beings. There is nothing to be done about it. There is something to be known there. So we must know, not that everything that you know requires you to do something. There is certain thing to be known which reveals the truth. Where the knowledge reveals an action, then you must do something. Where the knowledge reveals the truth, you just know. That's all. But dharma always reveals an action. And therefore, knowledge of dharma requires that you must do something. Merely knowing that is not enough, doing is required. Wherever action is revealed, then doing is required. Wherever an existing thing is revealed, knowing alone is required. This is a tree, this is a mango tree. So what should I do about it? Nothing. That's it. I did not know what this is, and now this statement tells me this is a mango tree. That's all. That knowledge itself is fulfillment. Where the knowledge itself is fulfillment, nothing is to be done. Where knowledge itself is not fulfillment, something should be done to gain fulfillment. So, where knowledge of all existing thing itself is fulfillment. This is a mango tree. This is Ahmedabad. And this is this. And this is that. Nice to know. My curiosity is satisfied. And therefore, knowledge itself is the end. I gain a satisfaction. When I gain a satisfaction from the knowledge, then you know that knowledge itself is the end. When you don't get satisfaction from knowledge, then knowledge is not the end, the karma becomes end. So, Vedanta is a knowledge which itself gives you satisfaction. Karma Kanda is a knowledge where knowing is not satisfaction, doing is satisfaction. So, two kinds of knowledge also we should know, whether knowledge pertains to something that is not there and knowledge pertains to something which is there. So says, dharme, karye, chodana, pramanam. Chodana, lakshana, artha, dharma. This is what the second sutra says. So there, chodana means what? Vedavakya or Vidivakya rather. Chodana means enjoyment or instruction. Something that prompts you to do something. So chodana means Vidivakya. So chodana, lakshana, artha, dharma. Dharma is chodana, lakshana. Chodana or Vidivakya is lakshanam, is a characteristic of which is called dharma. And what is the further characteristic? Artha. Artha means prayojanavan. So dharma is that which has the nature of being of the nature of instruction of the Vedas, plus which is purposeful, that is called dharma. So dharma has two necessary characteristics. Chodana lakshana, artha. It is of the nature of an injunction of the Vedas, plus it is that which is meaningful. But both of them are in saman vikaranya. So chodana lakshana artha. Anything that is injunction of the Veda must necessarily be meaningful. It is not that it is chodana plus artha. Chodana is necessarily artha, and that itself is dharma. So dharma is what? Artha means prayojanavan, meaning that which is purposeful. At the same time, chodana lakshana. It is the nature of chodana or injunction. Therefore, wherever there is an injunction in the Veda, there is necessarily prayojanavatvam or usefulness is there. And that is dharma. So when Jaimini says chodana lakshana artha, then what is chodana lakshana is also artha. Artha means arthavan there. Chodana lakshana arthavan dharma. But then artha means there arthavan. So says Purnanandya, Artha means prayojanavan ityartha. Says Purnanandya, Chodana Vidivakyam. Chodana means Vidhi or Nishedavakyam. So Vidivakyam, that other thing will be called a dharma. So Vidivakyam means the statement of the nature of injunction. So Chodana Lakshana. Chodana Pramanam Yasmin Saha Chodana Lakshana. That Chodana or Vidivakya itself becomes Pramanam. Lakshana means Pramanam. So how do you recognize? Lakshana means characteristic. How do you recognize dharma? If you are looking for dharma in the Vedas, how do you recognize it? Wherever you find Chodana or injunction, you know this is dharma. So being injunctive is the nature of which is called dharma. And it is also what? Artha. Artha means prayojanavan. Ityartha. So that which is Chodana Lakshana, that which is of the nature of injunction, is also prayojanavan, meaning which is purposeful. And that is dharma. Dharma is that which is characterized by being of the nature of injunction, and that which is meaningful or purposeful is called dharma. By saying this, Chodana Lakshana Artha Dharma iti Dvitiya Sutra, Dharma is what? Karya Lakshana. Dharma is always that which is to be performed or implemented. So dharma always involves doing something. So dharme karye chodana pramanamiti. So wherever karya is there, wherever something is to be done, then what is the pramanam? How do you learn? Pramana means what is the means of knowledge for you to learn what is to be done. Injunction is the means of knowledge. In any case, whenever you want to do something, somebody's instruction is required. Instruction of someone who knows. And here also, whenever you want to do something in your life, where we look for the source is the injunctive statements of the Veda. The Vidivakya of the Vedas, they become the Pramanam, they become the source of your knowledge for learning what dharma or what Ishta Sadhanam is. Dharme karye dharma which is to be done, Chodana Pramanam, iti Veda Pramanya Vyapakam Karyaparatvam Avasitam. Veda Pramanya Vyapakam Karyaparatvam. Wherever Karya is, Veda Pramanyam or Vidhi must be there. So Pramanam there means Chodana. So Veda Pramanya means wherever Karya is there, wherever something is to be done, there must necessarily be a Chodana or an injunction. So Veda Pramanya Vyapakam Karyaparatvam Avasitam. Yatra yatra Veda Pramanyam tatra tatra Karyaparatvam, or yatra yatra Karyaparatvam tatra tatra Veda Pramanyatvam, or Veda Pramanatvam, Veda Pramanyam. So wherever Karya comes, that Pramana, meaning the Chodana or the Vidhi, must necessarily be there. This is what it says. Chodana Lakshana Artha Dharma. So Dharma means that which is to be performed. Ishta Sadhanam. And what is the characteristic of Ishta Sadhanam? Chodana Lakshana. So wherever Dharma is there, Chodana must be there. Or wherever Chodana is there, Dharma must be there. So wherever Dharma is there, Chodana must be there. This is the Vyapti. That will be explained. Says Purnananda, so Chodana Vidivakyam Lakshanam Pramanam Yasmin Saha Tatha Ityartha Artha Prayojanavan Tatha Cha Chodana Pramanakatve Sati Phalahetu Karmatvam Dharmatvam iti Bhavaha. Tatha Cha, to explain, Chodana Pramanakatve Sati, Chodana or injunction being the Pramanam, being the source of knowledge there. Phalahetu Karmatvam, Phalahetu Vishayatvam, that becomes the Phalahetu. Dharma is that which is Phalahetu, meaning which is the means for attainment of some desirable end, Phala. So Dharmatvam. So what is the characteristic of Dharma? Which is Phalahetutvam, which is the means for a desirable end, at the same time which is of the nature of an injunction or Vidhi of the Vedas. So these two are the characteristics of Dharma. Dharma must necessarily be meaningful or useful, must be necessarily a means for attainment of something useful in our life, and also it is something to be learned from the Vedas, and therefore you must learn it from Vedas. Therefore Chodana Lakshana. Anything that is a means for happiness is not Dharma, but that which is means for happiness, at the same time that which is taught by the Vedas is Dharma. Because Dharma is not, that doesn't have Pratyaksha Pramanyam or Anumana Pramanyam, it is only Veda Pramanyam. So, Veda Pramanakatve Sati, Chodana means Veda Vakya, Vidhi Vakya Pramanakatve Sati. Thus Veda when it says Chodana Lakshana Artha Dharma, the characteristic of dharma is given like this, that dharma always is prayojanavan, meaning ishta sadhanam, it is a purposeful thing, at the same time, it is that which is characterized by an injunction of the Vedas. Therefore, Veda Pramanya Vyapakam Karya Paratvam Avasitam is Nirdharitam Ityartha. So this is that sutra ascertains this. Purananda explains, Pramanya Sati Vedavakyatvam Yatra Tatra Phalavat Artha Paratvam Vidi Tritiya Sutrana Vyapya Vyapaka Bhavo Nirdharita Iti Bhava. So that second sutra, Chodana Lakshana Artha, at least these two sutras we know now. Athado Dharma Jignasa and Chodana Lakshana Artha Dharma. Very important sutras of the Purvamimamsa. The second sutra means this, Pramanya Sadi Vedavakyatvam Yatra. Where there is Vedavakyatvam, but Pramana Vakyam means Vidhi Vakyam. In Vedas also, which are the Vakya which are Pramana, meaning immediately teaching us something, it is Vidhi Vakyam. So Pramanya Sadi Vedavakyatvam Yatra. Wherever there is Vidhi Vakyatvam, wherever there is Chodana, Tatra Phalavad Arthaparatvam, it must be useful. So that much reverence they have. Whenever Vedas say do this, it must necessarily be useful for us, and that's how. So wherever injunction is there, there must be meaningfulness. Phalavat Arthaparatvam. That Prayojana, Artha means Prayojana must be there, Prayojana which brings about a desired end. Iti Dvitiya Sutrena Vyapya Vyapaka Bhavaha Nirdharita Iti Bhavaha. So this Dvitiya Sutra tells us that dharma is always associated with an injunction and also is associated with the meaningfulness. So dharma or the karya is always associated with meaningfulness and its injunction. This is what the second sutra says. So this was necessary. Before, even Bhashyakara has not mentioned all this, but Tikakara explains all this. Why do they explain this? Because Bhashyakara mentions Amnayasya Kriyarthatvat Anarthakyam Atadarthanam. This statement of Bhashyakara, which is a quotation from Sutra of the first chapter and second quarter of the Jaimini. To understand that Sutra, the understanding of first two sutras was necessary, because it is these first two sutras which brought a question. Then the Vedas, if you say that Vidhivakyam is Pramanam, what we want to attain in our life is happiness. So what the Vedas will teach us is the means for happiness, and that is Dharma. And you say that dharma is that which is characterized by being an injunctive statement in nature. That shows that all those statements which are not injunctive in nature, which are not within nature, they must be all useless. So Purvapakshi says, if you had not said this Purvapaksha would not have been there. Since this is said, therefore Purvapakshi says, how about all sorts of Vakya? So Arodi, he wept. What does this mean? Vayarvik Shepistha Devata. That Vayu is a very fast or very, having a motion or having gati which is very fast. So Vayu or the wind is faster than all other devatas. Why? What's the meaning of all these statements? We don't find any vidhi there. We don't find any injunction. So if there is no injunction, there is no usefulness there. Therefore, anarthakyam, we say that all such vakyas are useless. This is Purvapaksha. And that Purvapaksha arose because we define Veda and Dharma in this manner. If Dharma was defined in a different way, maybe that Purvapaksha would not have come. So therefore, the understanding of first two sutras will enable us to understand what was the background of the Purvapakshi, and keeping which in mind, the Sutrakara there answers the Purvapakshi. So Purnananda says, you can see the clarity of all these people, when so briefly that he doesn't give lectures and lectures. He writes only a few sentences. So much is all involved in that sentence. When they write something, what an amount of thinking is involved. And all that is absolutely necessary alone is written. Then you work it out, what it means. Sutrakara only says Athado Dharma Jignasa. It will take you 6 months to understand that perhaps, That shows how much, of clarity, how much of thinking and how much of deliberation, it all goes in that. And so, even when Ratnaprabhakara also is so precise, then what to talk of Bhashyakara, then what to talk of Sutrakara, then what to talk of Upanishad, then what to talk of Brahman, And so, That's how the precision is there everywhere. And Sanskrit language is most ideal for this. There is no language that is as suited as Sanskrit to express ideas very clearly or precisely. Clearly, not more clear, but precisely. For precise expression of ideas, there is nothing that can match Sanskrit language, because it's a language is moldable. You can use it. All kinds of prefixes, suffixes and compounding you can do, and you can, so much of flexibility is available to you there that you can bring about precise meaning that you have in your mind. So precision of expression is what is most possible in Sanskrit. And the Mimamsakas, Purva Mimamsakas employed the very potential of Sanskrit language to analyze the Vedas, and those, no ambiguity should be left. No doubts and vagueness should be left in the minds of the listener or the students, and therefore precise expression is necessary. So Sanskrit is a language which has this characteristic. Okay, then Purnananda says Purva Tantrastha. Why did Swami say this? This is called Arsavada. This is extolling Sanskrit. But why? So that one is encouraged to learn Sanskrit. Why? So that you can understand this better. Why? So that we can understand Upanishad better. Why? So that you can understand ourselves better. Why? So that we can be happy. So everything must be ultimately connected to the self, understand? If it is not, then you should not say that. Not here anyway. And hopefully nowhere. But then, now continuing. Purvatantrastha Prasama Adhyayagada Vidiyapadanishtha Vidinatu Ekavakyatvat Ityadi Siddhanta Sutram Avtarayitum Adhikaranam Acharayati Tatrayati. So Siddhanta Sutra is stated by Bhashyakara also later on. Page 127. Vidinatu Ekavakyatvat Stutyarthena Vidinam Syuhu. That page 127 gives there are 5 Purvapaksha Sutras. Purvapakshi is not one sutra there, I think 5 sutras are there. And then 6th sutra, 7th, alright. So that means what? There are 6 Purvapaksha Sutras, and 7th is this Siddhanta Sutra. 6 Purvapakshas are answered. And so before you can study Siddhanta Sutra, you must study Purvapaksha. Before you can study Purvapaksha, you must study the background of the Purvapakshi. Therefore the need for the study of those first 2 sutras. That gives a background of Purvapakshi. Then he finds out so many, 6 kinds of statements he finds out from Vedas and says they are all useless. And the Siddhanta will say all of them are useful. So Vidhinatu Ekavakyatvat. So page 127 says Vidhina Saha Ekavakyatvat. That Vidhina, third case is Saha. Since there is Ekavakyata, or there is the same syntactical connection, meaning the same idea is conveyed along with the Vidhi, Stutyarthena Vidhinam Syuhu. Vidhina means Vidheyanam. Stutyarthena. Since this is what we call Arthavada Vakyas, they are of the nature of Stuti for that which is to be enjoined. So, suppose you want to enjoin a particular karma, then by Stuti of that karma, that Veda, the Arthavada Vakya also becomes Safalam. So, Arthavadaha Safalaha Syuhu. Syuhu means what? That's the plural. There is no grammatical connection at all. You have to supply words. Arthavadaha Safalaha Syuhu Pratigna. All the Arthavadas are all meaningful or useful. Why? Vidhina Ekavakyatvat. Because of Ekavakyata with Vidhi. All the Arthavadas of the nature of Stuti or Ninda have Ekavakyata. They convey the same idea as the Vidhi does. In what manner? Stutyartha Vidhinam Stutyarthenam. Because they extol or they condemn. They extol what is to be enjoined, or they condemn what is to be prohibited. In that manner, they enjoy Ekavakyata, or the same idea is conveyed by this Arthavada, and therefore Arthavada Safalaha Syuhu. So Arthavada are also meaningful. That's Siddhanta Sutra. To explain that, why was it necessary for Jaimini to say this? Because there are Purvapakshas. What are the Purvapakshas? Amnasya Kriyasattva Narasakyam Atadarthanam. Atadarthanam are so many. Those which do not convey karma are different kinds of vakyas are there. 5 sutras say those things, and they want to dismiss all those kinds of vakyas as redundant or meaningless, and the meaningfulness of all the vakyas is established in the Siddhanta Sutras. Okay, going back to page 124, going back to Purnananda, Purvatantrastha, Purvatantra means what? Purvamimamsa, you know. Purvatantrastha, Pratham Adhyayagata, Dvitiya Padanistha. In the Purvamimamsa, in the first chapter, in the second quarter, Vidinatu Ekavakyatvad Ityadi Siddhanta Sutram Avataraitum, in order to introduce that Siddhanta Sutra, Vidinatu Ekavakyatvad, Adhikaranam Acharayati. Adhikaranam of that, you know, Siddhanta, that particular Adhikaranam Acharayati. That whole topic is now discussed here by the Ratna Prabhakara. Otherwise, how can you understand Sutra? To understand Sutra, the topic must be clear. To understand topic, Vishaya must be clear, Samshaya must be clear, Purvapaksha must be clear, everything must be clear. So, Adhikaranam Tatra iti. So, what he says also requires for us to understand Tatra. Going to now Ratna Prabha, Tatra Vayurvai Kshepistha Devata Ityadi Arthavadanam Dharme Pramanyam Astinava iti Samshay. All these statements, these and many others, of which, as we said, the bullocks are singing and stuff like that. So we have to find out the sources anyway. So Vayurvai Kshepistha, that Vayu is a Devata who is very fast or faster than others, you know. Kshep is the fastest of them all, that is the Vayu. Kshepisthaiti, Arthavadana. These are all Arthavada. That is the praise of Vayu, Stuti of Vayu. Dharme Pramanyam Astinava. Whether these kind of statements have Pramanyam, validity in Dharma or not, you know. It is Samshaya. Says there, Vayurvai Kshepistha Ityadi Vishaya Vakyam Siddhavat Kritya. Doesn't say what is the Vishaya. This is the Vishaya Vakyam. Vayurvai Kshepistha Devata and all such other statements become the Vishaya Vakya, meaning address, keeping them in mind is a discussion. Purvapaksha Rachanartham Samshayamaha Vayurvai Kshepistha iti Arthavadanam Dharme Pramanyam. Do the statements such as this, do they have Pramanya validity in revealing Dharma? You say that the Vedas are meant to reveal Dharma, and all these things are also Vedas. So do they reveal Dharma or not? This is a Samshaya. Iti Samshaya Amnayasya Kriyasatvat Anarthakyam Atadarthanam is Purvapaksha. Purvapakshi says, since according to you, you yourself said, Chodana Lakshana Artha Dharma. That means Amnayasya Kriyasatvam is established there. Dharma is Karya. So Dharma is of the nature of Kriya, you see. And therefore, Chodana means the Veda Vakya or the Vidhi Vakya. So you said that which is Dharma is what is Prayojanvan, that is what is taught by the Vedas, and that is taught by way of the injunctions, and therefore all those statements which are injunction in nature alone are Pramana or alone are valid, and therefore from this itself what is derived is all the statements which are not of the nature of Vidhi or those which do not directly help in some karma should be considered to be meaningless. Purvapakshi says. Amnayasya Kriyarthatvat. Since according to your own second sutra, Amnaya or Veda is Kriyartha. So Kriya is the purpose of the Amnaya or Vedas. Anarthakyam Atadarthanam. Those Vakyas which are not related to karma, Anarthakyam, they are meaningless or useless. So says Amnayasya Kriyarthatvat Anarthakyam Atadarthanam Tasmat Anityam Uchyade. That's the whole statement.